Hello and welcome to the Nintendo Switch Online Game Club, the show where we play through the games available on Nintendo's various NSO apps completely at random. I'm your host, Derrick Bittner, and in this episode, I'm joined by the returning Uncle Silver, who last time took a look at the Shadow of the Ninja. How are you doing, Greg?
Doing pretty good. I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always glad to have you back. And with him this time is the great Clement, who last time got to play his beloved Panel de Pon. How you doing, Clement?
I love Panel de Pon. Games Club's been very good to me. I can't complain.
Yes, it has. And we'll see what you think after this. But as you're both likely aware, there are now over 200 games across the NSO, and while some are widely known like Super Mario Bros. And Zelda, there are some odd picks that could be considered hidden gems. We honestly don't know. So what we do is enter all those games into a randomizer, pick one, and then give our initial thoughts. And this week, the Wheel of Games has chosen Stunt Race FX for the Super Nintendo. What is our history with Stunt Race FX? Clement, let's start with you.
I still remember the commercials that were hyping up the FX chip and how they were bringing 3D to the Super Nintendo, both this game and the original Star Fox. And it was just crazy seeing 3D models, polygonal models on a Super Nintendo. I remember thinking, the future of gaming is here. Oh my God, everything's so awesome. So I rented the game, and I thought it was fine. I wasn't blown away. It was no Mario Kart, but I was like, it exists. It's a thing. You know,
I've played worse.
And I haven't touched it since. And I haven't played it since the 90s.
Okay. What about you, Greg? What's your history?
Not totally different. I think I rented the game initially. I don't remember exactly how I got my hands on it. I never owned it. That was never a game that I bought. But I said, you know what? It's the other. It's quote unquote the other FX game. So let's give this a shot and see how it was. And man, that is an early 3D game on a system that is not designed to play those games. And that's my critique.
For me, I never heard of this game until years later, when all of a sudden old school Nintendo fans were just all about like this game, hey, do you remember, it was the other FX chip game, like, oh, okay. And I look at it a little bit, it's like, okay, well, the designs of the cars seem cute enough, but I never tried it out myself just because, well, it's an old racing game that honestly didn't look that impressive to me. By the time I got to it, the 3D was certainly aged. Nowadays, I can sort of appreciate what it was doing at the time, but it was also one of those things where I did get a chance to play it. I tried it out on NSO multiple times. No, I'm not a fan of this game. I will say that right now. I think it is so choppy, and I don't get motion sick, but I can see how somebody would get motion sick playing this game. And I will say, of all the things that impressed me most about this game, it's the track design, because it's the early track design where before it was all flat surfaces or the illusion of maybe getting a ramp off somewhere. This, you do go up and down hills, which is cool. But the actual cars themselves, the actual racing,
it's bouncy.
Yeah,
it's very, very bouncy. It's like driving around in old school baby buggies. It's all over the place. Like it's hardly supposed to be Gran Turismo, but Mario Kart it ain't.
Yeah, part of it, it's like, I didn't know if the game was bad or if it's just I was too young and I wasn't very skilled at these kinds of games. Because, like, Super Nintendo racers were generally a lot harder than a lot of the racers you'd play today. Like, I played the original Super Mario Kart, and that game can be pretty brutal if you're not on 50cc. Like, if you bump up to 100cc, they just gun for you. They have infinite shells. They have infinite banana peels. They don't care. F-Zero was brutal. Like, I could never beat, like, the first cup of F-Zero when I was a kid. So I wondered,
okay.
well, maybe I just suck at racing games. Maybe it's just not the game for me. So I played it once and I thought, maybe it's good.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. And I guess I have to play it now for the Games Club to figure out what I really feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be biased just for modern gaming in general, or literally anything in between. Yeah, you when you go back and you look at it, you do kind of think like, man, this is it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to judge this game on its time. Right, it's going to be real for me. It's going to be hard.
To put our mindset back in there because I didn't have an SNES. I don't even think I knew about Star Fox until Star Fox 64. So just completely over my head. But I know Clement loves Star Fox, so maybe he's more inclined to the choppiness that this game inherently has.
I will still play the original just fine. I still defend the original, but I'm not shocked that people wouldn't enjoy the original Star Fox, though. If they're 64 is the only good game in the series, I go, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
It better did what the Super Nintendo, you appreciate the Super Nintendo game for what it was doing and what it was able to accomplish, because it's not like it was an unplayable game. I have talked to people that are like, man, how do you play this? I'm like, I know it's 20 frames per second, but it's still a good experience. I still beat that game plenty of times over. But, when you go back to it, you do kind of look at it and you think, man, how did we do this?
We were just blown away by it. That's all.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was. That's why I said with Stunt Race, it's going to be tough to try to look at this game and say this was the other FX game. This was graphically, power-wise, it was supposed to be ahead of its time, and it kind of was. It's just it was a very well-polished turd. Very bouncy and I appreciate what it tried to do. It just didn't do it well.
I just have to put myself back in '94 and see what I think. What would I thought at that time to see if, would it have impressed me? Would it have done much? Because the game did all right. I'm looking here, and apparently it had surpassed millions copies sold by 1998. So it definitely had Nintendo really had people excited just for that FX chip and the 3D possibilities. But then we didn't really get much for 3D after that point. It's odd in that way. But yeah,
top selling NES game in October 1994. Whew, slow month.
I'm not sure what else was coming out in '94 at the time, but man, it's I don't want to belittle the game, but it's also one of those things it feels like there's very little reason to go back to it other than a curiosity. So I guess that's what my goal is as we're playing it this week, is figure out what I actually think. Give it the old college try and actually try to play it through as more than I've done in the past. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up thinking.
Yeah. Who knows? It might end up being the hidden gem that some people claim it to be. It might end up, maybe we'll be able to look past all of that and say, wow, this is okay. This is playable. Going just off of memory, because I played it, I want to say about a year ago, or when it came to the service. I don't remember when it came to the service, but we did play it, and I said, all right, I'm going to give this game a try. And I think I played it for about 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it was, again, I didn't put it down as fast as I thought I would, but I was also streaming. So, even bad games are content when you're streaming.
True.
Outside of it, I probably wouldn't have put it on, but so I'm interested to give it a real long-term shot and see how we feel about this game.
Mm. What kind of mindset are you going in with, Clement?
I don't know what to think. Sometimes I can have a contrarian opinion from others, and maybe I'm going to find a hidden gem, some magical experience that you guys just don't appreciate. I don't know. Maybe I'll love it. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just hate it and think it's dated and really bad. So who knows? Yeah. It's been 20 years.
That
I haven't played it since the 90s. It probably will suck, but we'll see.
Yeah. We'll find out. We'll find out. So, yeah. Well, I guess we'll see you all, soon for you guys, in a week for all of us, as we play through Stunt Race FX on the Super Nintendo. See you soon.
Let's see. You were doing 140 in a 35 zone. Side-swapped 3 cars. I believe this bumper belongs to you. Destruction. Carnage. Oh, you didn't use your turn signal, son. I'm gonna have to write you up for that last one.
Stunt Race FX with the Super FX chip for multi-dimensional visual weirdnicity, only on the Super NES.
And we're back after a week of playing Stunt Race FX for the Super Nintendo. What do we think of the other game that used the Super FX chip? Clement, let's start with you.
It is a fun novelty of where the technology was back in 1994. It's not particularly that great to play, and I don't think it's terrible. I didn't think it was the worst experience ever, but it is a thing that exists. That's basically how I feel about it.
For sure. Greg, how about you?
Look, I went into this game with old knowledge of a absolute disaster of a game. I gotta be honest, I came out of this and I have a much better impression of the game. I was very,
wow.
I mean, it's the frame rate absolutely trashes any positive. The game is almost unplayable, almost, not quite. It actually kind of makes you sick, depending on how you look at it. I had it on a big screen, and it kind of made me a little sick sometimes, especially at the beginning. But I can see what they were trying to do, and it seems like a lot of fun. It's extremely limited for what it is, but it seemed like a lot of fun. And there was one thing in particular that really showed me what the game could be. But when we break it down a little bit more, we'll get into like the specific thing that I thought, oh man, this is actually pretty decent.
I'm of the opinion where I can see what it's trying to do, and I think it's doing some really great things, but it's just not succeeding at any of them. Like it's cool to have the different like the hills and stuff that just wasn't not common back in the day, to have those type of features. But the problem is, while the technology is impressive and there's some neat things in there, it's just not fun to play, even on a fundamental level. Like, I was trying to look at it as a racing game, and it's not much of a racing game, I find. There's just not a lot there to just keep me coming back or anything. That's kind of how I felt. It's not a great racing game, but it's a lot of fun. It's a fun game without being a good racing game. I found a lot more enjoyment out of the the stunt tracks, and I couldn't do the battle thing because you need 2 players for the battle thing. But I did just the stunt a one-on-one race.
Yeah, but it won't you literally can't do it. Right. It triggers the second player with the second controller, so it wouldn't register anything. But I enjoyed it more doing that. As a racing game, I still ended up enjoying it. It's like you said, it's I think we're just in agreement on the fact that we accept what it's trying to do. It fails because of the technology. It fails. The frame rate was terrible. It was very limited in what its options. What I was in the stunt mode, and you have to soft reset the game in order to get to the regular mode.
There's no way to back out of menus. You have to soft reset.
You have to soft reset.
I eventually discovered you can push LR, select, and start at the same time, and that will reset the game for you.
Yeah, you can reset the system, or you can soft reset with the buttons. That's the only way to get out of the... And that's just a system feature. That's not even specific to that game.
That is why that oversight? It's just, I don't think
I
I've
feel
ever
like-
seen that.
I feel like it was so technically limited that they had to eliminate functions. You got to a point where, all right, the cancel button's not going to work. So, use the thing that's already there. Save the kilobytes. Save the game. Is kind of what it felt like.
On the plus side, it did get me to see that amazing pause animation. Like when you pause
Yes.
the game and
Yeah.
they have that little car that's like running through the
The little
drawing. It's
retire.
the car just
yeah,
galloping
if you
like
want
a
to
horse.
retire.
Yeah.
I love that. I thought that was great. And that ran well.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
It's
The game
best
has
running
a
part
lot
the
of
game.
personality. That's the sad thing is there's very limited cars and whatnot, but having the eyes on the cars and all that stuff, the way when you
Yeah.
hit something, the way they kind of burst apart a little bit, the tracks themselves are having this colorful feel to them. The fact that they love to bring in the Star Fox team to fly over you in certain parts of certain tracks.
I had that happen
Yeah.
once. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was scared the hell out of me.
Like,
Yeah, they have a lot of
there's some-
background effects going on. You'll see like a truck pass through the road just as you're coming up to it. You'll see like
Yeah.
dolphins jump over the thing when you're like going into the underwater tunnel, and fish and stuff swimming around in the underwater tunnels. Like they
I'm pretty sure I
tried,
almost
they
hit some
pushed-
horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost hit some horses. Like they put a lot of interesting stuff going on visually. Like it's not like there's nothing going on in these courses. It's also making the game run very slow, and sometimes
Yes.
the graphics being as primitive as they are, it's still like sensory overload. There's a lot of red triangles that are flashing. There's a lot of like beams
Yeah.
that you're not sure if it's part of the background or if it's an obstacle you got to get out of the way of.
Tunnels that the inside of the tunnel doesn't appear until you cross
Yeah.
the threshold of the tunnel. So you get jump scared by a turn. It's a lot of stuff that's like, if we're going to probably keep saying it. I see what they were trying to do. The technical limitations are just drastically holding this game back, because I do see a really fun game. The cars have the personality. I'm not a huge fan of the swaying, like the sort of rockiness of the cars, but it also gave me a Motor Tune Grand Prix vibe. Because the cars, they had the physical personality, they had the eyes and everything. And then Motor Tune had a lot of that. Motor Tune had a lot of you turn, because it's cartoony. So you turn and then the car kind of,
Leans
moves to
into
the
it.
side. Like, yeah, it kind of leans away from it. Like when the bottom is going too fast, so the top part kind of gets left behind. A lot of it felt like that. And it very much had a Motor Tune Grand Prix feel, which is a great game. It's just, like I said, the frame rate was so bad at times where it was hard to look at. It was like making me sick. I had to get used to it for me to play it for a long period of time.
Yeah, I pretty much played exclusively on handheld mode, so I think that helped me adjust a little bit better.
I played on my TV.
Yeah,
That was a mistake.
I
TV
was,
as well.
I was
Yeah,
watching
you
my
did TV
son,
as well?
so it's just easier to play it in handheld. So,
Yeah.
I guess it worked out for me there, where it still played fine and everything else, but it's just, I don't know. I definitely did not like the idea of putting this on the TV.
Yeah.
Did you guys know you can change the camera angle with the select button?
No. I didn't.
Okay, because like I find when the game starts up, when you are just initially in a race, the camera is way too close to the car. Like you're so close to everything that's going around, so like everything gets by you, and you're just like But when you push select, the camera does pull back a little bit, so you can see more of the road. And I find it does make the game a lot better to look at.
That
it makes it
would've
a lot
been
easier to distinguish
nice
where
to
you
know.
are in relation to everything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does
the problem I hate,
it hurt the frame rate?
the frame rate's pretty much the same. I feel like that doesn't change.
Okay.
But the thing I don't like, though, is like when you select the far out view, you go into the next race and it starts out closed. So you got to push select every time you start a race. So that's the only thing I don't like. But you can pull it out with the select button and get a better view of everything going on around you.
When you hit it again, are you in FPS mode? Or are you first person or FPS? First person?
No, it's just close and far, close and far.
Okay.
So you push it when it's far, it goes back to close. You go push it when it's close, it's back to far. That's all it does.
I somehow missed that because at one point I did start pushing buttons because I was trying to just see like, okay, I played through a little bit. I'm starting to lose. I'm just getting frustrated. So give myself a goal. What do I try? What is there for me to see to really be able to talk about this, for this? And I saw that there's a final set of 4 races that you can unlock and one of the other cars, one more car. I never unlocked that one other car, but, I also saw, thanks to controls, that since there's no manual in NSO, you can do sharper turns by hitting the R and L triggers. That is necessary.
I usually try and do that in racing games. Anything past the Super Nintendo, I always just sort of assume that that's what the L and R does. So that was something that I found out. I didn't know about the select button. The one that I didn't know until I did the stunt thing was that the jump button.
There's a jump?
All right.
So
the top button.
Oh, wow.
The top button, whatever it is, the X or the Y, the one that's at the top, I think it's Y. When you hit that, you kind of go up high on your wheels, like in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when the car goes up on the wheels.
Yeah.
If you do that at the top of a ramp, it does jump. It triggers a jump because when you go to the stunt thing and there's the ramps and they have big arrows that say jump. I couldn't figure out how to do it, and then that's what I did. You hit that button right at the top of the ramp, and it triggers it as a jump. The problem is the game doesn't compensate for that, so you go up so high that when you land, it counts as damage. You smack the bottom and your car breaks into pieces. And I'm like, come on, man, you can't give me a jump and then punish me.
No shocks.
There's nothing. The game's all shocks and it doesn't help.
Yeah, when I was doing the stunts, I forgot. Like, I was practicing with the controls when I was learning because I was like, okay, I have a boost meter. I have to know what button is boost. Push the thing. I saw him jump, and then I pushed the left button, and he started boosting. I'm like, okay, there's the boost. And I started going through the Grand Prix, and I completely forgot about the jump feature because I didn't see the point of it. I didn't know what its purpose was.
In the Grand Prix, it's not worth it. There's no point where you use it.
Right.
So I get to the stunt stuff, and I start trying to collect all the 40 tokens that you need to get the perfect score. And some of them are really hard to do if you don't know to jump, like I didn't. So I'm boosting full speed at the ramp, hoping that I'll finally get that little edge, that little boost of momentum to get over it. And it did work. I did collect all of them. But I wish I knew about the jump feature because that would have made things so much easier.
It's interesting. It's a cool mechanic. It just
they
don't tell you.
Succeeded getting all those. I kept always missing out. I couldn't.
Yeah, I didn't. I tried. I got as many as I could, and then I just moved on.
It's not worth it anyway.
Yeah,
like I got all 40 on them thanks to save states because I would just rewind every time I made a mistake. Because this is the other problem with Stunt Race is that like you get major punishment for like hitting a wall in a way that like Mario Kart or F-Zero wouldn't have because this has like a little physics and momentum and kind of like grip to everything. Like if you hit the wall at a wrong angle, it's really hard to build that acceleration and get back into the zone. And also the thing I don't like about this game in terms of like other racers is that not only in the races are you going up against other drivers, which I think would be the point, first place, second place, but there's also a timer in the top right for your checkpoints.
Yes. That's old.
And it starts counting down. Yeah, it's old school, and it keeps counting down and counting down, but it got to the point where I was in the master circuit, and I was in first place, but I wasn't boosting because it was my first time doing the track. So I'm not boosting, but I was in first place, so I was feeling kind of comfortable, and then the timer starts going 10, 9, 8, and I'm like, where's the checkpoint? Where's the checkpoint? I hit the checkpoint with like 1 second to go.
And it's not enough.
I finally start boosting, and I couldn't make it to the second checkpoint, and I lost, even though I was in first the whole race.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my experience, and that is the key point of why I do not like this game and don't think it's a good racer. Because you're not racing against the other carts, the other players, of which there's only 3 others. That's all the game can handle. Not that there's a lot of cars to race as in the first place, but also you're racing against the clock, not them. They don't factor in anything. As long as you're not fourth place, you move on to the next race and you complete the set. You're all good to go. And it became such a struggle. I felt like I had to boost perfectly on these master courses in order to make any progress through them. I tried to see every track, but I couldn't do it at a certain point. I was boosting my ass off and I couldn't do it. And you hit certain hit certain walls really hard, and your car just burst apart for a little while, and there's like 4 seconds
and
gone.
that's it.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I was trying to look at the timer that counts down for the race and the timer that keeps track of your lap times. And I'm almost positive the timer that counts down for the race is going faster than your track time. Like it's counting down quicker at a different rate. I'm like, this is some BS.
I have this image of Derrick with the board, with the pins and the lines, and he's doing the like. So you see, it's 0.5 seconds.
And it was starting to matter. I had so many times where I kept rewinding to try to just do better because I was literally a stone's throw away from hitting that final like checkpoint in order to like finish the race, and I could not make it. It was so damn frustrating. And to do that
I
without
couldn't finish
save
novice.
states, good God.
Yeah, I finished expert. I got first in like the whole expert Grand Prix, but I couldn't finish the last race in novice.
Really?
I don't know why.
Really?
Because there was one turn to get to the checkpoint that for the life of me, I just couldn't get there. Like I was holding the button the whole time. So that was early. And then as I got better at the game, I was able to do expert, but I never went back to try novice again.
Oh, so you got to beat both in order to unlock master.
No, I beat expert and master was just up there. Unless you can scroll and see it, but not access it.
I don't know. I never thought I was able to scroll up until after I beat both.
Yeah, exactly. So I did scroll up and I saw it. So I think it lets me do it. I think as long as you beat expert, it opens up. But
cool.
Yeah, I was like, this is kind of interesting, but I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to be able to beat that. And then when I did expert, I just never went back to novice.
Right. Which car did you guys play as?
I did try each one for every single course. So like the first one, I was the coupe. The second one, I was the monster truck. Mm-hmm. The third one, I was F-Type. But I think F-Type, I chose the wrong car for that one. So I went back to coupe because F-Type, it has like great top speed, but it has low damage and the turning's not very good. So I basically gravitated towards coupe, and that's what I finished all the stunt courses with. I stuck with coupe pretty much the whole game.
I did coupe for the races, and then I did the truck for the stunts. And I think I did the truck for the expert courses, just because it's slower top speed. It made it easier for me to make the turns. So I was like dominating the turns. But I wanted to go back and try it with the coupe, and I didn't really try the fast car because I thought, with this frame rate, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
The only thing I hated about the fast car was just the turning. It was just so hard to make those turns, and you would run into walls. And because you took more damage with that smaller frame, it was a lot easier to get a game over that way.
Just disintegrate.
I never had to worry because I pretty much played exclusively the four-wheel drive, the monster truck.
Okay.
I tried the coupe like once, and I immediately started feeling like, well, back to the four-wheel drive, and I like saw the F-Type. I was like, well, if I'm already having trouble with the coupe, I'm not messing with that other one. So no.
Yeah.
I know there's a way to unlock a two-wheel drive. That's the final car that you can do in Stunt Race, but I don't remember how to do it. I'm actually looking it up now.
I just got first in all the courses, and I got it. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got it, right? Okay.
I think you just have to beat novice. Yeah, you just got to beat novice, expert, and master.
Oh yeah, you beat master
place.
class. So I couldn't beat that third race. I tried and I tried and I tried. I just couldn't do it. How's two-wheel drive in that case?
Yeah, how was it? Did you try it?
I played it a little, but I played it for like a few courses, but it just felt so similar to coupe. I didn't really notice any significant change. I was just like, okay, that's a car that exists.
Yeah.
Did you get to try the 2-player mode, and what you thought of each of the modes, like the racing, the stunt mode? What did you think of them?
I did not get to try multiplayer at all. Although I can't imagine that the frame rate had to be worse at that multiplayer.
Yeah,
right?
I would imagine so.
Well, the thing I noticed, I didn't play it, but I did start looking up YouTube videos of it just so I could get a sense of what it was like. And it is just a one-on-one on a racetrack. It's not like a battle mode. Like, they call it battle tracks. But it's not like Mario Kart where you shoot at each other's balloons to try and pop them or anything. It's just a race.
Yeah.
And unlike Mario Kart, it's just you and the other person. There's no computer opponents. It's just the two cars. Probably because on a technical level, on a horsepower level, that's the only thing they could handle.
It's the only thing they could handle.
So yeah, it's just you and a friend going against each other in a race. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, which is, that's fine. That's all,
Fine.
Super Nintendo, what you weren't really
You can't really expect too much else,
a ton more. Now, one of the things that did turn me around on the game where I could really see what it was trying to do, if you try the test mode.
Oh.
The test mode, because it only gives you the four-wheel drive car, the truck, and it's not really a race. There's no other cars. The test mode actually runs significantly better.
Oh.
Like
I never bothered trying that because it just seemed like a time trial, and I never really care about time trials.
That's what I thought. I was like, okay, it's a time trial. Let me try all the modes and see what happens. Because there's no other cars and because it's not processing anything, it runs significantly better. And if you were trying to figure out, like if you're having a hard time wrapping your head around what it is they're trying to do, play that mode. Give it a second and you'll see like, oh, okay, if it ran like it did in test mode, I think it would have been much better received. Even being as limited as it is, I actually think it would have been. And that was one of the moments where I said, this game is actually good. It's just wildly limited by its hardware.
Yeah. If you put this thing on the N64, it'd probably be a pretty great racing game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of examples of how racing games evolved on the PS1 and N64. But back on the SNES days and so forth, that was... it was behind the back and you got a limited view of what's coming up and good luck.
Like you said, you can zoom out apparently, but if you don't know that for whatever reason, the game doesn't tell you that. If you don't know to do that, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I personally played on the NES. I didn't really have a lot of racing games on the Genesis, but I had a few on the NES. Super Off-Road and Alonso Jr. F1 Racing or something like that.
Yes.
RC Pro-Am. I love those racing games and always had a ton of fun.
Were you
with
Rad
them.
Racer?
I never played Rad Racer.
No?
That's
so good.
And yeah, I love those games, but this one, even though I can see what it's doing, it's more modern. It just wasn't quite there yet. And it's cool that it's like there's a way to see kind of what the intention was, but
give it a shot. If you take 5 minutes, it doesn't even take that long because it's not really, the test mode is not a course or anything. So to take 5 minutes, give it a shot, and you'll see what I mean. Where I at first my brain kind of thought I'm just making this up. It's not, but then I played it for a minute. I was like, no, it is actually running a lot better, and this is a lot more enjoyable. I wish the whole game ran like this.
If only.
I'd be curious to see if there's the SA1 patch.
Oh yeah.
It's like the ROM patch that removes slowdown and stuff, and basically runs it like it's overclocked. I'd be curious to know if that actually helps with this game, because if you could get that game running at a stable, stable double-digit frame rate, it'd be pretty good.
Yeah. Fair.
I've played more consistent flip books.
It's just interesting that it never came back in any capacity, like they don't even have Stunt Race FX cameos in Smash Brothers or anything. Like they never made a sequel. They never wanted to follow this up on.
I think the best we got was
on the Super
Stickers
Nintendo,
and
and that's
Brawl and Spirits and Ultimate.
Yeah.
Oh, it has a spirit in Ultimate?
I think it might.
Oh boy. I mean,
I
everything's
don't know
got
about
a spirit,
but definitely Stickers and Brawl. I do remember that for sure.
Maybe a trophy in 4. Could be.
I can't even remember it. That's how I feel like it hasn't been treated very well in terms of nostalgia or remembrance. I just don't feel like they ever talk about Stunt Race FX, even though
Nah.
you know, it's such a novel game by its very premise and by its very like framework. And it is on NSO, so they do like it's acknowledged now. We can play it on the Switch, but for whatever reason, it just never came back.
So I just looked it up. It's never had a trophy, but the F-Type and the tractor trailer appear as spirits in Smash Ultimate, and in Brawl, it also features 2 stickers from the game.
Okay.
So,
you mentioned the tractor trailer, the bonus mode.
I just remembered that. It's like the bonus thing where you play the tractor
mode.
trailer and the driving.
That was weird.
Right.
Driving sucks, and it's like you get a lot of like extra time, which is nice, but it controls like crap. And was it just me, or did the camera decide to stay in one place while it never stayed behind the tractor trailer? It's just like, here's a side view. I'd like to see what's coming, please.
I would love to go and drive into the gates if I knew where they were.
It's funny because it controls terribly, but it's an 18-wheeler, so it's kind of supposed to. So if anything, it was like, wow, okay, so if this engine for this game was an 8, if this was Big Rigs 1.
Exactly. This should have been a Big Rigs game, and we would have understood it. It's like, man, this is much better than the later version.
And I did it twice, and like both times I noticed at the end it says laps, and I got 0 both times. And I'm like, all right, I should be like just hammering the gas to try and get the whole loop instead of taking it very slowly and going left and right.
That's what I was trying. Yeah, I was like, okay. I mean, it's a truck.
Since we're playing this on the NSO, I think it makes more sense to go for the extra time, considering the issue I was having, because extra lives don't really matter when I can rewind and try again.
Yeah, and I had trouble with the novice final level with 14 extra seconds.
Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
It's something. Like, it's not the worst. I can see what they're trying to do, but I
had fun.
I have no plans to come back to this game ever again.
Yeah, I had fun. To be completely honest, I might come back and at least try and do the master course and try some of the other cars. And like I said, I can see what they were trying to do, and if I'm able to judge it on its merits back then, I can play it. Mm-hmm. But the second I remember it's 2024, I'm immediately out. I immediately
like, I could
drop
be playing
out.
Cruis'n Blast right now or something.
I could be playing Motor Tune and having a better time.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and make it official. I think we've said all we wanted to say about Stunt Race FX. But what's our final verdict? Would you recommend it as an NSO or tell people to stay away with an NO? Greg, let's start with you, even though I think I know what you're going to say, actually.
I'm not gonna lie. I gotta give it a yes. What is it? NSO?
NSO, yes.
I have to give it an NSO. I know that sounds wild, and it's like a 51%, right? NSO versus 49%.
Just enough.
Oh no, but it's interesting enough to play. It's interesting enough to put some time into and try and, at the very least, understand what it is that they're trying to do. Once you have that understanding, once you have a feel for what it is, you're probably never going to play it again. But I found that it was worth to actually give it a solid attempt and see for yourself. Because you might like it. You might enjoy it, assuming it doesn't make you sick.
What about you, Clement?
I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I'm going to give it an no, because it's like you said, you're probably going to enjoy the novelty of it, but then you're never going to play it again, which is, I still go back to Mario Kart. I still go back to F-Zero. I still will go back to all kinds of racers like Top Gear because I get nostalgia for that, and it runs well, and there's tons of racers and tons of modes and tons of everything. This is a game you can clear, like, complete. Just finish the whole entire experience in like 2 hours. Because there's not many courses. The stunt mode thing, I wish there were like better rewards for doing it. Like you can get all the 40 tokens and get the perfect score. And then it's just like, okay, you did it.
Good job.
Good job.
Okay, thanks. I got nothing else to do now. I remember playing this as a kid in the 90s. And even though I wasn't as good at it today as I am, or I wasn't as good at it back then as I am today, I didn't have this desire to rent it again. I didn't have this desire to go back because it was a novelty. Like, I've never seen a game that looked like that other than Star Fox. Yeah. And Star Fox is something I can go back to, and it's way more fun, and I still enjoy that game a even though I know a lot of people wouldn't. But Stunt Race is just not clicking with me. I just wish it controlled better. I wish it didn't have the timer when you're in races. I wish it had more courses or more variety or anything. So I think it's a fun novelty. It's something to look up in a YouTube video. But in terms of like recommending it to people, I think you can skip it.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Clement on this one. Definitely an oh no for me, because there's a novelty there. It's something you play for about 5 minutes, see if it clicks with you, see if you want to see more, because graphically it is impressive. Like, I really do like how they took the cartoony effects of everything and sort of like the traditional 2D look of everything and applied it onto the 3D models to make it look more than just blocky, kind of like Star Fox is. It really gives it a little bit more personality. That's really cool, but the racing itself is just not that much fun. And the timer, I think, is one of the biggest problems, because I want to race against the other cars. I think that's much more interesting than the timer. Make the timer its own mode. Heck, there you go. There's some extra content for you. You have you got timer races and you got actual races. There's ways to split it up, I guess. But
whoa. More content. We're rationing out kilobytes here.
I guess that's true. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it was a cool novelty at the time, but we've passed it by. Worth checking out just to play it for 5 minutes, but don't spend any more time than that. So that's why I say for it.
And I think that's the thing about my yes. My yes is based on the fact that it's on a service that you probably already have. You can click it, you can play it. If you don't like it, you turn it off.
Yeah.
Don't go through any effort. I say yes, but don't go through any effort to play this game.
No. Do not track this down and spend $60 to play a physical copy.
Yeah, don't nothing. If you don't have NSO and you don't have the ability to just instantly try this game out, it is immediately a no. But if it's there, it's on the service, you give it a shot. I figure that's what this is all about, is games that are on the NSO. So what's it gonna hurt you?
But that's the thing,
play?
is I want to be a little bit judicious, because you can say it about any game on here. It's like, sure, try it.
Because you could say that about anything except Dive a Story or Dive a 6.
I haven't gotten that one. But what about all of you? Have you played Stunt Race FX before? Or was this your first time? Excuse me. And before we go, where can everyone find you at? Clement, plug away.
I have a YouTube channel where I do video essays and talk about fighting game lore lately, it seems. Clement J64 on YouTube. Right now, I'm finishing up a video on Mortal Kombat, and I'm going to be talking about the Xbox 360 after that. And my upload speed is very slow, so bear with me if you subscribe.
You're going the Kadikarus method. It takes a little bit, but when you get it out there, it's banger content. So there you go.
Absolutely.
I like to think so.
The Tekken video was phenomenal. I think it was the Tekken one, right? Yeah.
I enjoyed both Tekken and Street Fighter, so I'm excited for Mortal Kombat. What about you, Greg?
Shucks.
Where can everyone find you at, Greg?
You can find me 5 days a week, basically, on Twitch, twitch.tv/Uncle Silver. I'm on YouTube at Uncle Silver Gaming. I believe I changed my URL there for that. And I'm also part of SGB, the Super Gaming Brothers. So if you ever get a chance, swing on over there, catch some of our videos. We're going through Mortal Kombat 11 right now, Mortal Kombat 1, the story mode, and on the weekends we're doing Final Fantasy 7, the OG Final Fantasy 7.
Mm-hmm. But not the OG Mortal Kombat. You mean Mortal Kombat 1, the new one.
Mortal Kombat 1.
This pair isn't confusing at all.
I hate that title. I hate it.
That is a stupid title. That is a really dumb title.
To be fair, the original Mortal Kombat was not technically called 1.
No. That is true. That is true. But how do you clarify? Do you have to either say Mortal Kombat 1 or the original Mortal Kombat?
Yeah,
I'd rather just say
the
Mortal
OG.
Kombat 1.
There you go.
But the problem is, in 2011, they released Mortal Kombat which is actually Mortal Kombat
Oh,
9, but it's just
yeah,
called Mortal
you're right.
Kombat. So people started calling the original Mortal Kombat 1 to differentiate them, and
You're
now we
right.
have a Mortal Kombat 1, so now we have to call it Mortal Kombat OG or Mortal Kombat Original because it's just
so
confusing.
confusing. I'm ready
I
to
feel like at this point, people just decided to take the Mortal Kombat reboot one, the original one, and just start calling it Mortal Kombat 9. It's like, screw it, that's 9.
It's just mix it all up completely. I mean, some of them don't even have numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Anyway, that's thank you both for joining me, and if all of you joining us enjoyed this episode, let us know in the comments, and please consider supporting us at patreon.com/gvgaming, which includes our live audience tier that will allow you to watch Game Club live as it's being recorded. But now it's time for the Wheel of Games to choose next week's title, as I'm joined by my special guests, John Cartwright and Xeon Grassel. Are you both ready to see what game we're playing?
Spin that wheel.
Let the fear, the trepidation, the excitement begin as we bring up the wheel. Hit that button and let's spin. What game are we going to play this week? And it is going to be
Ape Escape.
Double Dragon 2 The Revenge for NES.
Okay.
Who's ready
I'll
for
take that.
some beat 'em up action?
That's
I know
solid.
it's a beat 'em up, but I know it's
Yeah.
a bit it's a bit all over the place. I don't know. We'll have
I
full
remember
thoughts
the
there.
NES version being. I don't remember if it's really difficult or if the arcade version is, but I grew up with this one a little bit.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Or specifically the NES version.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. We'll see you next time as we cover Double Dragon 2 The Revenge on NES. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye.